Grandstand Rugby League commentator Andrew Moore joins me once again to talk Origin and the NRL. Andrew, first of all, Paul Gallen's comments, foolish, positive, or are they going to be inconsequential?
I think, as a few Wilco have said today, it's Gal being Gal. I love having him back in the Origin scene. I'm getting a bit sick of Queenslanders being called grubby, I've got to say. I think they're starting to wear a bit thin, but it's something the New South Wales players want drilled into the referees heading into this game again tomorrow night. So they'll be on the lookout for anything that goes on. Queensland have been the masters at upsetting New South Wales with more than just the scoreboard for the last 8, 9, 10 years. So I can't imagine they're going to change the way they play, despite what New South Wales says. New South Wales have just got to be able to handle it, not let it get to them. And they keep saying that they're going to retaliate. They're not going to let Queensland get away with anything. So I don't know what messages that's sending to the referees, but they'll be on the lookout. But look, Paul Gallen,
yeah, his return.
He's a great player at Origin level. He's been a great leader for New South Wales, and I think the New South Wales forwards in the first half did a really good job in Origin 1. But I think in terms of a 60, 70, 80-minute leader out there, Paul Gallen's the man still for New South Wales, and I think New South Wales will be better for him being back there.
What will Queensland miss without Cooper Cronk?
Gee, I think they're going to miss a lot. Daly Cherry Evans is clearly a wonderful player. He's yet to really step up at Origin level. Not all his fault. He came on early last year in Game 1 when Cooper left with an injury and only had one training session before Game 2. And a lot's been made of the stats against him so far in Origin footy. This bloke here, though, Cooper Cronk, just wins them game after game after game. He's got that calm head. I think he's very good for Jonathan Thurston in keeping him on point if Thurston needs that. So it's going to be interesting, the balance between he and Jonathan Thurston tomorrow night. Daly at his best can be a great Origin player, but he's got to prove it so far.
How can New South Wales win with still that lingering question mark over the potency of the halves?
It's a great question. I thought Mitchell Pearce was okay in Origin 1. Trent Hodkinson, I think, has been quiet all year, and he's a steady performer anyway, even at his best. His defence is fine. But in attack, he needs to be able to do more. His kicking game's got to be better than it has been, and that's a key for me at the MCG. It's such a vast expanse. You've called footy down there before. It just looks different, and looks can be deceiving. So his kicking game's going to be vital tomorrow night. And I do think they're not as good as the Queensland halves, even allowing for Cooper Cronk not being there. So they've got to step up, and if opportunities arise, like field goals late in the game, they've got to be in position to take it. They've got to be able to capitalise on any chances they get.
Now, your selection and why?
New South Wales, because I'm a New South Welshman. I think the Blues...
That's heart ruling the head.
Well, I've learnt my lesson the hard way, tipping Queensland in the past. But I think New South Wales can win because Brett Morris is a bit of an X-factor player. He's got some speed that I think will benefit from New South Wales. And I think Paul Gallen's leadership makes New South Wales a stronger side. Queensland's a great team, but I think New South Wales can just get there.
Now, let's look at the NRL and the matches, some of the matches that were played last night. The Eels, they were behind early. There was the public falling out with the coach and Chris Sando. He did inspire them in parts in the second half. Well, what did you make of this against the depleted Storm?
When they win, it's generally because the Seven's having a good game. It's just it doesn't happen often enough. And Brad Arthur would have dropped him, no doubt, if he could have, if it wasn't for salary cap restrictions. But Semi Radradra out in the wing certainly made him look pretty good as well. He's a great player to watch. Melbourne's record without their Origin players is not good over the last 6, 7 years. So I don't think it was a totally unexpected result. But having this guy bobbing up gives Parramatta some potency. And I don't know, just for the rest of the year, if you're stuck with him, I'd be making him as happy as possible.
Just too inconsistent, though.
That's right.
We're watching the Parramatta go well, but Melbourne did have an opportunity late. They had a try, which I think we're going to see shortly, disallowed. The coach blew up about this. Did he have grounds for his discontent?
I think, Craig Bellamy's point is that there's undue pressure on a referee to come up with a decision. And I think that's fair enough. I think a few of us have been saying this for years now. Don't make the referee give a decision on the field.
Yeah.
Send it upstairs. And if you can't tell, to me, it's no try. Now, in this case, because the ruling was no try, it's very difficult to tell there whether the ball was lost or not, heading towards the goal line. I probably would have given it a try, to be perfectly honest, but that would have been guessing as well. So I would think, benefit of the doubt, if you can't tell, it's no try. But take away the referees having a guess as to which way it goes.
Let's hear from Des Hasler. Always entertaining.
Just for change.
Not always popular.
When you ravage a competition for Origin, then it's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? Be interesting to see how they view it overseas. And look, I know people talk up Origin. It's a great great event, a wonderful thing, but the sooner they fix the format up, the better.
Well, the premise is that they haven't got it right where they're staging the Origin games. The NRL suffers, but there's Hasler. Does he need to come out and say that, or were the Bulldogs just pretty ordinary?
I think they were ordinary. I mean, it's hard when you're without 5 top players and you throw in injuries to the likes of James Graham especially and Tony Williams, but Canterbury were ordinary. And he said his last words of that press conference were, not that any of that's an excuse for how we played. And ultimately, Gold Coast played better than them. It's not like this is new. Des Hasler has known that this is a possibility for a long time. And ultimately, even if you go through some hard weeks in the middle of the season like Canterbury here, it's still good for your club to have that many rep players available, and the cream will rise again as the season rolls along. But I think it was deflecting over a pretty ordinary performance by his team, and again trying to put pressure on, trying to get the NRL to change things, which they're not going to do in a hurry.
Yes, the Titans just far too good in this match, winning by a long space. Now, let's have a look at the Roosters, flying, doing well, and a team which is going to win a premiership sometimes has to pull a match or two out of the fire, and they did so here.
Well, down 14-0, you thought Warriors by how much? No Hargreaves for the Roosters, no Mitchell Pearce, Origin players unavailable. This bloke really stood up and had a game, James Maloney, for them. Kicks this field goal, and you thought there, well, they're home and host, up by 1. And then this rather bizarre, everyone just standing around, they kick the field goal, level things up, and Blake Ferguson, they catch them to the right. The Warriors have only themselves to blame. They could have locked the ball up prior to this set of 6 for the Roosters. But I just think everyone wants to fly under the radar, especially a good side like the Sydney Roosters. I think they have to an extent. They're sort of sneaking along now. They're on the cusp of the top 4. I've got no doubt they'll be there at the end of the season.
And just in about 20 seconds, sum up Wests v Souths.
West Tigers very good, Souths very bad. Michael Maguire, well, they reckon there was paint blistering off the walls on Friday night. They just were not on their game. They didn't look in it from the start, and the West Tigers, they had one of these games where they thought, oh, we know we've got to tackle a lot, but let's throw the ball around. They were really good to watch.
Andrew Moore, thanks for joining us. Good calling tomorrow night at the MCG.
Thanks, Wilco. Can't wait.